What's good, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. I say again, welcome to my YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube, and also welcome to my Snakz 123. That's SNAKZ 123 Snakz on Rumble. And guys, on this one right here, I was thinking about this government shutdown, and there are some things that can irk me or bother me, a bit, and which gives me a bone to pick with this government shutdown. And that is when I see U.S. troops not being able to pay their bills and having to rely on food banks, so that they can eat and also for survival and to feed their families. And I happen, and I know they've had something set up. They have a couple of local ones set up, around here. And then I was seeing different reports, on the news. And to me, that is it's very disappointing to see those men and women in uniform, having to go to food banks, to get food so that they can feed themselves and their families, and they still have to work and serve our government. You know what I'm saying? Now, for me, this obviously touches close to home, as I am prior military, and so I understand by experience, inside and out, exactly what military members, the sacrifices that they make, and also for our veterans, the sacrifices that they've made, And I just personally, I don't think that that is fair, that is right, that you can have military members, putting it on the line, serving their country, and some of them, if they're married to military members, their families have to sacrifice while these men and women are on deployments, handling business for the United States of America, its government, and protecting the freedoms and the rights in the country of its citizens, and I understand that, when we swear in and we take the oath, we know exactly what we are signing up for. But if you think about it, in most countries, normally their military gets paid and their military eats first. Now, I do understand that the military, to I think a certain extent, they may have some options, or things set in place for military members to eat. But I mean, who wants to eat MREs all the time? You don't want to be feeding your family meals ready to eat, or feeding them rations. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I know that they've made the rations, better and more sophisticated. But I mean, that stuff, some of that stuff, man, at least some of the old stuff, because stop your system. I mean, you can't be feeding your kids, MREs, and I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how much they issue out, if military members even can get rations. But when your men and women that are serving in your armed forces have to rely on food banks, I'm looking at our government, looking at Congress. It's like it comes to a certain point. Hey, you guys got to get your act together. And hopefully, now that I guess the election is over with, they'll come to some agreement so they can get this country set back on track like it should be, and they can handle their own beefs, but the American people don't have to suffer. But that kind of rubs me the wrong way, because I know what it's like to be on long deployments, to be away from your family, to almost, lose my life, within a blink of an eye, could have been unalived, And you telling me that you got men and women that are on deployments, and they're giving all, to the military and to Uncle Sam, but Uncle Sam is not honoring his end of the bargain and making sure that they get paid and taking care of their families while they're away from their families and their loved ones, taking care of Uncle Sam's business. Stuff that the servicemen and servicewomen have no control over. They don't have a choice over whether they agree or not. They're following orders, but defending and protecting the United States and our government's and country's interests. Ultimately, so that some of the politicians, or many of the politicians and many of the elites can get paid, and so that their pockets can get fat, and so that they can have generational wealth, and so that their family members, can eat, go to the best schools or universities, are afforded the best opportunities, and then their families, afforded the same thing, but at the detriment and off the sweat and the back, of who? And a lot of times, normally, individuals that are way up at the top, that are rich like that, a lot of what they gained is through conquest. But many of them, or most of their ancestors, they didn't fight those wars. They didn't scrap a lick. They never suited. Many of them never suited up in uniform. They never had no boots, on the ground, or got their hands dirty in any conflict. They didn't. Did they serve in Vietnam? Did they serve in World War One, World War Two? Did they serve the Korean War? Did they serve in the conflicts in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq? Did they serve in Operation Iraqi Freedom? The answer is no. But yet and still, they can set these things up, and they own the corporations and the businesses that profit, from these wars. I made a video probably about maybe 2 weeks ago about wars. They make money, and yeah, wars make money, but who ultimately are the ones that have to sacrifice and pay the price, for these wars? At whose detriment? It's easy, for the elites to set up the wars and, strategize, and, set these conflicts up, but who has to go on there tactically, boots on the ground, and has to go get this mission accomplished? It's not them, and it's not their children. It's regular, hard-working, tax-paying Americans. And the taxpayers have to pay for this. American troops, they have to pay for it with their blood, sweat, and tears, and their taxes. While, like I said, the elites and some and many of the government officials, they getting paid. They getting paid off of this, but our troops, the government gets in a funk, internally, and American troops have to suffer because they can't handle their business, or they're having a disagreement or dispute, and so they want to hold the country hostage, to include military members that are serving, to include, veterans, that sacrifice, and they put it all on the line. And so they can't get their benefits, and what they need, and it's a major travesty how this country treats its veterans. That's major disrespect for what many, of these men and women have put, on the line. They put a lot on the line, man. And for them to get out, and to basically, in a sense, it's like being spat upon, by their government. A cold slap in the face. When they get out, they can't get the employment that they need. They can't get certain medical or, food and shelter, that they should have. Our veterans should be treated much better than what they are. And definitely our men and women that's serving in uniform. Men and women in uniform should never have to rely on food banks to eat, and to feed their families. When Uncle Sam, has to send servicemen and women on deployments, you don't see not one of them shirking their duties, and there's never a delay on them serving this country. They roll their sleeves up, and they honor their commitment, what they swore under oath. And they go out there, they fight, and they serve, and they do whatever job that they must do, and they do whatever is required of them. And as you can see, our government, is not, honoring their commitment to our service men and women for the same flag, that they're fighting for. This country's flag, that many veterans have paid the price for with blood, sweat, and tears, and are currently, with current servicemen and women, paying the price for. This country is not honoring that flag, and it's not honoring the U.S. troops, and it's not honoring their veterans that paid the price for it, that allow our flag to stand. And our American troops and our veterans are a part of the core and the backbone, for which our great nation is founded and which it stands upon. You cannot have a great nation without a great military. So that means there has to be somebody that has to fight for it, and they have to fight to defend its borders and also to protect the borders and the framework and the system, which we call democracy and capitalism. Somebody got to fight for that, defend it. Somebody got to protect it. And these politicians, many of which are rich, and even if they're not rich, at the minimum, they're at least upper middle class. So they're not hurting, for a paycheck. And they're not worried where their next meal is coming from. They're not worried about their kids, for the most part, being in harm's way. But you can't make sure that our troops and our veterans are taken care of. What type of government is that? When you need to send them out, to war or to different conflicts, whatever it is, or different missions, you don't never see these American troops shirking their duties. They go out there, they strap up and they go get it done. But we have, a government shutdown going on because our politicians, in Congress, right now, they're cutting a fool. And they are cutting a fool, at the expense of U.S. troops, veterans, and hard-working, tax-paying citizens. And granted, I understand, that, okay, we have, food stamps, ZBT, and, whatever, Section 8 vouchers and stuff like that, But every country has its, poor citizens or its citizens on the lower end of the spectrum. And, we know that there may be some people that are abusing the system, but that's not all. There are people that in this country that genuinely they need these particular benefits. And some of them, are veterans, you know. And, you know, that being said, what are you supposed to do? Because, you have to fix the problem, but you can't stall a society, utilizing the government shutdown. The country has to run, people still got to eat, even the ones that, currently may be taking advantage, but you can't make, the rest of the country and others that actually need those benefits suffer for the bad apples. You have to, you know, keep those benefits going, and then you can weed out, the bad apples during the process, and you can get them out, later. But you can't, what you gonna do? You gonna hold up Medicare, EBT, food stamps. You're not gonna pay the troops. You're not gonna pay government employees. I mean, come on, man. And you politicians, you guys, from the looks of it, it don't look like any of you guys are missing any meals. And I'm not saying that whether you guys are overweight or in shape or not, but your faces, they don't look anorexic to me. So you got to be considerate of other people. And to the elites, I know you guys at the top, you making your money. And I'm not saying that the elites haven't made, obviously, their contributions to society, as obviously they own, businesses and corporations that do hire people. And the elites, they have a great hand in setting the framework, and the ideologies for this system known as democracy and capitalism, in which us as American citizens, we do live in. But, to the elites, without, regular tax-paying citizens and the other classes of people in this country, you have no power. So we need each other. Whether you guys, like it, or not. We may not be in the same privileged position as you, but like it or not, we do need each other. And I would appeal to you to please be considerate, of other individuals that are in different classes, below you. Consider and think about the decisions that you make and what you run to Congress and what you lobby for and what you lobby these politicians and our government to do, because one decision that you make from your level, it has a trickle-down effect. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I have to believe and know that you elites have a hand in this government shutdown, because you control basically a whole lot of what goes on in this country and also what goes on in this world. But to our government, man, come on. You can do the American troops, better than this, and you can do our veterans better than what you're doing. This right here, it's a shame. It's a shame. You guys, you can have your internal beefs or conflicts, but, don't make the American people suffer and hold us hostage, because you guys, want to monkey around and take your, hiatus and go on vacation while you leave the country, hung out to dry. Be considerate of the United States citizens, get your act, together. Wake up, or eventually you're going to run this country into the ground and you won't have a country to rule over or to govern. You can't, you can only push, people so far. You guys got to get your act together. And you guys need to come to a resolution and come to it really fast, because, people can only take so much. And whereas all Americans right now may not be hurting, but there's enough of them that are. you know, and for what that United States flag is supposed to represent, what I fought for and what American troops are fighting for and what veterans have fought for, you owe it, to this country. You owe something, our government owes something, to its people. And if you guys don't get your act together and you can't honor, that United States flag and the citizens, that, fall under it, then you guys have failed, and eventually this country, it will implode. It will implode. But don't do the American troops like that. The American troops, definitely need to be getting paid. And please do a better job, of taking care of our veterans. This doesn't make any sense, And like I said, ultimately, for the American people, you politicians and government officials, you were voted in and you were hired by the American people. Do a bit, do your job, man. Do your job and stop screwing over the American public, because that's what you guys are doing. You guys got no business voting yourself a raise when you are causing many individuals to lose their jobs, suffer mass layoffs, recessions, and bringing on the early depression based off of much of it is due to decisions that you and the elites have made. And I'm just going to have to keep, I'm not saying that myself and others, we can't blame you for everything, because I understand that this doesn't just fall on just any one group of people, but you government officials and the elites, you do have a large hand into what has happened. You do. And so, like anybody else, you got to eat your share of humble pie, and you got to own it. You guys, make decisions, and everybody makes mistakes. That's understandable. But you guys, make decisions, and some of your decisions are flat out, they are foolish. They are foolish. And the sad part about it is that many times you guys, a lot of times, you don't pay the price or suffer the consequences of your decisions and your actions. We do. The other classes, of American citizens do. So in the future, please, consider the decisions and your actions. Everybody is accountable. But I'm going to get off my soapbox on this one. But please, do a better job of taking care of the American troops. They deserve better than this. And do a better job of taking care of our veterans. They deserve better than what you guys, have done. That's all I have on this one. The name of my channel is Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus YouTube, or EricBroadusYouTube.com, as you can see right there, with the banner. And also I have my Snakz123 channel on Rumble, SNAKZ 123 on Rumble, guys. So please smash that bell to become a subscriber to Eric Broadus YouTube, and turn on all notifications. Hit the like button to like the video, hit the unlike button if you don't like it. Either way, leave a comment. Love to dialogue with you and love to hear what you have to say. Everyone has a right to be heard. Freedom of speech is one of our amendments, guys. Everyone's got a right to be heard. And on this channel, I know there's people from different nations that listen. Please leave a comment. Everybody's got a right to be heard and has a right to their opinion and perspective. And on my Snakz123, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like and unlike button. Love to hear and dialogue with you. Also, I have a podcast, Snakz Thoughts, SNAKZTHOUGHTS, Snakz Thoughts. And you can find my podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Radio PBM, and a host of other social media outlets. And lastly, I also have the 5 best weight loss products, guys. Please, the link will be in the description. Hit the link, purchase the products. Next to God, the next best thing that you have is your health. So take care of your health. You get one life and you get one body. Take care of it, guys. And if you feel inclined, hey, support the channel. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hit the whatever, the super chat, cash app, whatever, guys. But that's all I have on this one. But yeah, something to think about, guys. You know what I'm saying? Our troops and our veterans, they gotta rely on food banks. Really? Something to think about. Peace out. Later.